everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Rookie Division in the Vintage Open Tournament. And this video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. So let's go. We're gonna start off by using a Titan Ball on this short par 4. Why did we play with a Titan Ball then? It's because we do want to reduce the amount of overpower that we need to use. You can play with a power 2 or a power 1 ball if you want to. But the problem with that is that you need to use more overpower. I would say with a power 1 ball, you will almost need to use max overpower. And if you're gonna use a basic ball or a mauling ball, you definitely need to use max overpower. And it's not sure that you can reach over the rough and the sand. So the thing that I'm looking for here though is to get myself as close to the green as possible to maximize the opportunity for me to get it in the hole on 2. The first shot is played 20% downhill, so we need to add 20% to our adjustment. So the thing that we do, that I do like to say as well is check down in the video description. There you can find direct timestamps for the specific holes in this playthrough. So if you don't need any help for hole number 1, then you can skip directly to another hole. Also, patreon.com/golfclashtommy for training sessions and also text guide packages. You can see our opponent plays with a basic ball, getting very close to the rough there. You can see as well that I did use a little bit of curl. It's because I do want my ball to get through this kind of like road of a little bit of fairway there. Now you can see I'm using a Firefly level 2. Not the best in the world, but it has ball guideline. And ball guideline with a wedge is very important. And that makes it a little bit easier as I'm just going to put myself by the edge of the cup, and then I'm gonna take my shot and gonna make an eagle. This is going to be a must eagle. That is why I want to show you with a power 3 ball, as that maximizes the opportunity for you to make an eagle on that par 4, which is a must. Now, hole number 2. Here I'm going to play with a basic ball. The reason I play with a basic ball is to give myself room to play with a long iron, but also that I don't need anything else. Second bounce should be on the fringe in terms of where you aim. And with a Goliath here, you can see we're gonna use 2 bars of backspin, second bounce on the fringe, and then we're going to adjust for medium distance with a 10% over adjustment, which is going to be approximately 1.3, 1.2 rings, something around that. Hit the ball perfect. You can see the first bounce, second bounce on the fringe, and it rolls down towards the pin. A little bit to the right, but that we just need to change by moving our landing position a little bit in the beginning. Then we should have no problem to get that one even a little bit closer. But this hole number 2 is does definitely open up a possibility of making hole in 1. Now I might be overconfident with that, but yeah. One thing that you need to have in mind though, let's say you want to play with a Saturn or with a backbone in a lower level, then you might not have that much distance where you will have to play with a power 1 or a power 2 ball to give yourself that possibility to play a little bit further and don't have the problem that our opponent is getting there, even though our opponent is going ahead and making a good shot. So the Goliath gives distance, and the only thing I would focus on is to get 2 bars backspin on my long iron. And then if I could choose the second alternative stat, then I would go with distance, so I can play with a basic ball instead of a power ball, so I can save them to the other holes. Hole number 3. Hole number 3 is a par 5. And what should we do here on this par 5 is that we are going to bounce over the water. We're not going to try to clear the water directly, because the risk if we do that is that we're going to do as our opponent did, which is very unfortunate and very unlucky. We are going to over adjust our drive. 10% we need to add, and you can see there I'm using, in this case I'm not using a power 3 ball even though it's a par 5, but I'm going to use a power 2 ball with max side spin, which is side spin 3 on the Katana. Katana is excellent here. So I'm using the Katana, max distance of my club, max side spin to the right. And then you maybe think, then we should be maybe using max topspin. But no, we're only going to use 2 bars of topspin. The reason being is that if we do use more topspin, we risk getting a massive roll on the fairway and putting ourselves in between clubs, or even, if we are even more unlucky, playing with a short iron. And the thing that we do want to achieve is to play with a long iron and going for the rough bump without having to be in between clubs in any form. So I'm very happy with that drive, and also to just go back a little bit again, that is the reason why we do want to play with 2 bars of topspin. So you don't use more than 2 bars of topspin, and then you will see that you're going to find yourself in a very nice position for the rough bump. Oh, so close for a sit. That's good. Second shot, I'm not going to add or subtract anything. I'm just going to use my backbone in maximum distance here, using 2 bars of topspin, as I do want to see how will the ball act with 2 bars of topspin. And then we're going to use maximum distance without any over or under adjustment, as I said from the beginning, which is going to give us approximately 1.7, 1.8 rings, or like 1.8, I would say more. We hit the ball perfect, we hit the balloon, and we bounce where we want to, but we're coming in way hot here, and this will not make the ball stop. So the thing that we do want to do here is to use 1.5 bar topspin instead. Then that is going to be in the hole. Hole number 4, par 3. And this par 3 here is going to be a possibility to make an hole-in-one, absolutely. The thing that I'm going to suggest you to do here is to actually play this one 20% downhill. And that goes against what I've said in earlier guides where I've said 10%, but I do want to change my mind. It's better for us to change our mind now than it is to make a mistake later. Sure, you can play this one with 10% downhill and you're still going to be around the pin. But I want you to play 20% downhill on this one. It's going to get you a little bit closer. And I'm going to do the same as my opponent. I'm going to play with a backbone. And I'm also going to play with a power 0 ball. But I'm going to choose a marlin ball. A marlin ball is going to give me a little bit wind resistance, a little bit of side spin, and a little bit a little bit wind resistance is really what I'm looking for here. 1 bar of backspin, but I would change myself to the second try here to use 1.5 bar backspin instead, as we're gonna come in a little bit hot. Blue ring, very close to the start of the fringe, with the ball guide line pointing straight at the pin. And then we're going to adjust for in between medium and maximum distance of our club. Hit it perfect, we bounce, and we're gonna roll very nicely towards the pin here and get very, very close. Still a little bit to the left there, and that's something that we will just have to compensate a little bit for moving our target before we take our shot. Hole number 5, 10% downhill. Look at the ball guide line now. Even though we bounce just under the tree, we're gonna have to come in very much to the left to get in a position where we're gonna cut the tree. So the thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use 4 bars of topspin with max side spin to the left. And then in the end I changed myself to 4.5 bar topspin because I figure like with a 3 miles per hour it's not going to make that big of a difference. Then I'm going to play it very close to the left side there, and I know that might be risky, but we do want and need to be as close to the left side as possible and also as close to the top as possible to be able to have a decent shot for the green for the second shot. I'm also playing with a Titan ball that gives me distance, and the Titan ball is not something that I would debate or discuss in changing in any form, because if we do get up to where we want, which is approximately where we are now, we're going to need to be able to reach from there as well. And therefore we need a power 3 ball, but also we're going to need a wood club that gives us distance. Our opponent that playing with a basic ball basically makes this drive go from already hard to not impossible, but super tough to get in a good way. Hit great left as well, and it looks like this is going to get in towards the trees here. And roll out still, but this is really what I'm talking about here. From this position with a basic ball, it's not possible to reach. It's just not gonna happen. You can see here that I'm still have to go with overpower, even though I have a power 3 ball, and playing with a big dog that gives me distance. 1 bar of backspin, or like 1.5 bar, but 1 bar would be okay. So in this case, I think I'm using a little bit too much backspin because we're not having wind in any form, and tailwind is almost nothing. And the only thing that I'm really focused on here is not to get this ball in the hole. Sure, it would be a massive bonus, but I just focus on getting this ball to the green. And the drive was 10% downhill, which gonna come to this shot that I'm just gonna play it as it is. I'm not going to play downhill, uphill in any form. And now we got to the fringe. It is a little bit unlucky that we do cut the rough there in some form, but we're still going to manage to make a very easy eagle from that position. And that's what we're looking for once again. If you make an eagle here, you're definitely going to gain an advantage over your opponent. So, quick, when our opponent takes our second shot before we go to hole number 6, max side spin left and 4.5 bar topspin with drive. Play under the tree on the left, using max numbers with a 10% over adjustment. Second shot, use a club with distance. Big dog is preferred, and then you're going to use approximately half a bar to 1 bar of backspin depending on where you are. Go with max numbers, a little bit of overpower, and then nothing more, and then adjust for maximum numbers. Hole number 6, and hole number 6 I'm going to use 3 bars topspin and as much side spin to the right as possible that I have with a Marlin ball, which is 2.5. The reason I'm playing with a Marlin ball here is that I do not need to play with anything else. You could play with a quarterback as well, but then I would like you to play with at least a power 2 ball, so you don't have to overpower, especially if you have a lower level quarterback. Now I bounce myself and roll up there to the hill, and that's okay, you know, that's enough. We don't need to roll further. Instead of doing like what I did on an earlier stream where I rolled too far and rolled into the rough on top. Because if we do go into the rough or in the sand at any place up there, you cannot reach for the green in 2. It's absolutely impossible. So, because we're not going to even be able to go over the water if we are on the wrong place, you know. The drive here, as I said from the beginning, I'm using the 3 bars top spin, 2.5 bar side spin, but also playing in maximum distance with a 5% over adjustment. Not more than 5, but 5 is necessary. You're gonna see here now, our opponent is in the rough. He will not be able to reach for the green, even though it looks like it could be a possibility. Or maybe, you know, it's going to be very tight though. We're gonna play with the Viper here, Viper level 7. And Viper is the club that is the one that is... it's going to be the one that is mostly used in Rookie. I'm trying to find a spot here where the second bounce on the fringe, 2.5 bar side spin with 3 bars of backspin. And then going to play it minimum numbers with a 10% under adjustment, so uphill. This shot is played uphill there from the hill, and we're getting it to roll, and getting it in the hole! So, 3 bar backspin, 2.5 bar side spin, and then under adjust your shot 10% from the position you are, in that case, minimum distance. Hole number 7. Hole number 7 is a par 5, long par 5, where we're gonna play with a quarterback as a driver as a start. You can see I'm playing with a quarterback level 5 with a power 3 ball. You may wonder why a power 3 ball when we play with a quarterback. Wouldn't it be better to play with an extra mile with a power 1 or power 0 ball if so? No. The reason being is that we do need distance for the second shot to be able to reach to a spot that is going to give us a good opportunity for the eagle on this super tough par 5. There is going to be a general birdie, like it's going to be general birdies on this hole. Not just because it's a a tough hole. Many of them are tough, but the distance here, this is a hole that is more than 600 yards. And reaching for this green in 2, I would say it's impossible with the clubs and the balls that and also the wind that we're having in rookie. So we just need to focus on getting our second shot to a position where we can reach with a short iron by going for the pin. And that is what we're gonna do now. Now it's super important that we do have a power 3 ball, but also using the wood club that gives us the most distance, which in this case is a big dog. And distance combined with topspin, you could say I'm having like, what do I have, 6 bars of topspin with a big dog level 5. I also have 100, more than 175 yards, which is perfect. I'm gonna go max overpower and risk that I might be hitting the ball great. But if I'm not being super unlucky, this ball should be having no problem to get to the fairway. So you can see here now we have an open shot towards the pin, using a short iron, which will like make this opportunity for the eagle good. Look at the difference here though. If you paid attention there to our opponent, look what difference it makes by playing with a power 0 ball and then with a Viper, which has no topspin basically, and now putting himself in a position where the trees are in play, which means that you need to play around the trees, which is super tough. So you do need the distance for the second shot. That's why a power 3 ball is crucial from the beginning. But the drive, I choose to play with a quarterback to give myself a good accuracy so I can hit the ball great without being worried. And also ball guideline to help myself there to get close to the top. Now I have basically a non-existent ball guideline with the thorn level 2. Trying to aim straight at the pin using medium numbers with no backspin, no side spin, and trying to get this ball in the hole for an eagle. Get in! Bounce, roll, come on. Oh, it looks close. Super close there on hole number 7, but once again it's a general birdie hole. Don't be too hard on yourself if you don't get that in the hole, but at least build yourself up to the position that is shown so you do have a shot for the eagle from distance. Now I'm going to play once again with a power 0 ball, and you maybe have noticed that I basically are playing with a power 0 ball when it comes to the par 3s. Strange maybe, but I think it's important when we're playing rookie that we're going to use a mix of balls with a focus on using, of course, as low power ball as possible, but still having the same type of shot that we would be having with a power 3 ball. But now it is super. Look how close we are to minimum distance of our club there, and using a power 0 ball here will make myself be able to use my Viper with the 3 bars of backspin. I don't have any other wood club that gives me more backspin, but if I could be using a club that gives me 4 or 5 bars of backspin, that would be the club that for me to use if so. But now I don't have that, so I will have to play with the Viper, and therefore a power 0 ball is super important, as we otherwise will be in between clubs with the wind that we're having here. We hit the ball perfect, gonna bounce here. You can see we're coming in a little bit too much to the left, but we're coming in with a decent speed, and if this would be rolling towards the pin, we might be getting it in for an hole-in-one. Last but not least, for the approach shot there on hole number 8, we need to add 10%. So 10% with minimum distance of our club. So now we do have hole number 9. Hole number 9 is a little bit strange for us that has been playing tournaments in Golf Clash for a very long time, and that is that normally we used to end up in a par 5 with a par 5, which makes an eagle possible in the end. But this is a par 4. So we are going to do our very, very best to get ourselves to the green, but due to the clubs that we're having, it kind of minimizes the possibility to make an eagle here on this tough par 4. First, I'm going to play with a power 2, a side spin 3 ball. I do want to have as much side spin as possible to the right, of course, combined with using topspin. So 4.5 bar topspin is necessary here. You could play with a little bit more, but I would keep myself to 4.5 because that is what we're having on the lower level extra miles as well. Max curl, which is half a ball of curl outside the adjustment ring to the right with an extra mile. I would be going with max curl even if you would be having a little bit more, but I would not go with more than 75% of the ball outside the adjustment ring to the right. Have that in mind, please, so you don't over curl if you would be finding yourself with maybe Apocalypse level 1 or another club that gives you more curl. Also, the drive needs to be played downhill 10%. Super important. Now, for the approach shot, I think our opponent is making a good move here using the Guardian. The problem is, playing with a basic ball will not get this ball to reach for the green. So you do need to have some power on your ball, because it doesn't really matter how good you make your drive with a power 0 ball, you're still going to have, if so, a very tough time to reach for the green, even with a club that gives you distance. And we don't want to do like, of course this works, but in a worst case scenario, we do want to be on the green or on the back range for an easier chance. I'm using the big dog because the big dog actually has more backspin than my other wood clubs. I do have a Horizon and also a Viper. But 3.5 bar backspin, and to be able to get this ball to stop or get to the green in some form, I need to play on the bottom part of the fairway there, which is going to be tough. Going to have to stay away from over and under adjusting this shot. I'm going to just play it as it is, as it looks a little bit uphill, but I'm not going to play it uphill. I'm just going to play it once again as it is. We bounced it on the fairway with a great shot. Great shot's a little bit dangerous, and we'll get to the fringe on the back of the green. And that's okay, because once again, we don't have the club. A Guardian is the club that I do want to play with, but I don't have the Guardian, unfortunately. So we just need to be okay with that we get up there in some form and make a birdie with the clubs I'm having here. But if you do have the Guardian, you can go more aggressively towards the pin. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was the playthrough for Rookie Division in the Vintage Open Tournament. Once again, if you do have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And also, before you go, take your time, hit the thumbs up on the video. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Good luck in the Vintage Open Tournament.